Hey, Mark McNutt here, the Astro Wizard, and we're going to be talking about Scorpio times and the fall and Samhain and some interesting astrological aspects and so forth. Yeah, I'm probably not going to focus that much. Today's election day, and I'm purposely not going to say all that much about it. Why? Because I'm a partisan and I'm completely prejudiced about what I want the outcome to be. I'd rather move on to the other things and talk about the days following that. Meanwhile, I've got my beloved Zeus here, sometimes called Roly Poly Fluffykins, and he's a catten, and so he's my sidekick for the moment. And I'm going to be put on my Astro Wizard hat right now, um, in keeping with the season, and tell you about Samhain. Astrology is like very solar based, and sure, everybody knows their sun sign and that kind of thing. Um, but the astrological year starts with the spring equinox, and the astrology that we follow, called Western astrology, is or also known as tropical astrology, has to do with the seasons and then trisecting from the seasons. So any pagan person will tell you that the energy of the seasons radiates from the middle of the season outward. So here we are. So that means you have the spring equinox, then you have Beltane, you have the summer solstice, then you have Lammas, and you have the fall equinox, and you have Samhain, which is actually New Year's for pagan folks. Why is it New Year's? Because what happens is the old world is dying and the new world is coming on. So, with that in mind, what we're looking at is basically a fresh start. But that fresh start is it's required that the plant life recedes and composts so that the new forms can come out of that. It's essential for the old world to die so that new life can spring from it, just like this new life Gemini cat that I've got here was born this year. And so with that in mind, it's really important to see the death and rebirth cycle that's going on right now. And regardless of what happens in this country over the next few weeks, and I'll talk about that a little bit, what we can expect is that this is a time of rebirth, of resurrection, of a whole new, basically a dissolving of the past and moving into the future. So Scorpio's good at that. Scorpio is a fixed water sign, and those who are born around now are really aware of the intensity that goes along with this season. So right now, uh, we're at the middle of Scorpio. We're right at Samhain, and by the way, the holidays that have to do with the pagan times of the year, the 8 holidays, they have the quarters and the cross quarters, and so the beginning of the seasons are the quarters, the middle of the seasons cross quarters, and the cross quarters are always more important. Um, but they're not celebrated accurately because of the inaccuracy of our of, of the calendar that we have adapted from Roman times. So basically, Samhain, sometimes spelled like Samhain, that should be not November 1st, not the Day of the Dead, but November 7th. Um, the opposite time you have Cinco de Mayo, not May 1st, but May 5th as the midpoint in the spring, and Lammas is really August 7th, not August 1st, and then you have in the winter, not Groundhog Day, but the 5th of February is Imbolc. So anyway, it's a little later, but because we celebrate early, it allows us to basically, as a culture, to glom together and focus. Now, this is a time when belief really matters. So one reason I'm not doing election predictions is because it has a lot to do with belief. And today, being election day in the U.S., I'm totally aware of how much belief is driving this. Why is belief driving this? Well, Neptune's at the tail end of Pisces right now, its own sign, and so the energy has been building up about more and more in terms of, like, if you believe it, you're going to make it so, and that sort of thing. And everything from election denial to conspiracy theories. A good part of this is Neptune being at the tail end of Pisces. It's going to go into Aries next year. And so what we're seeing is the tail end of beliefs and the shortcomings of beliefs and old paradigms melting down and things like that. Meanwhile, Pluto, which is the other planet that has a very slow cycle. Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio, very important to right now. And Pluto is moving into Aquarius finally on about the 20th of this month. Now, what's pertinent about that, Pluto's already been in Aquarius, but a lot of astrologers, they jump the gun. They're like, Pluto's in Aquarius, and that was last spring. And then it retrograded back into Capricorn, so it's sort of like the old paradigm. And now Pluto is again about to move into Aquarius, but not today, not election day. No, it's a few weeks from now. Next month, Mars will go into a retrograde, and Mercury will be retrograde at the end of the month. But we're seeing a lot of so basically there's going to be a backlash. No matter what happens, there's going to be loose ends, and there's going to be a real reshuffling that's going on, certainly in this country and maybe around the world, that can go to the end of the year, but probably not beyond that. That's why I'm very hopeful, because I think there's still some karmic dues to be paid, and some realignment that needs to go on, and some beliefs that need to be readdressed and evolve. I'm very hopeful about things happening, and so is my Zeus. Yeah, he's very hopeful too. I see a positive outcome. Saturn is going direct right under the full moon around the 15th or so. Pluto into Aquarius on about the 20th. And that's when I think that things will be obvious that changes are going on, and that we can start to look at the next chapter. So in terms of your personal life, Scorpio is a time of great transformation, but also brings up a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, and it brings up what is hidden and brings it to full view. And I think that that's really important to kind of get to the bottom of things. So at this time, things are a little unsettled this week with an election and so forth, but the next chapter is very much about going in deep and a lot of soul searching that we can count on right now. And if we don't do that soul searching, it's going to happen anyway. Mercury's going to go retrograde, and the best laid plans that you make are going to have holes in them. And Mars is going to retrograde for a couple months, and Mars is going to be kind of like the dark side of personal energy and all that. Mars starting its retrograde in Leo. So Mars in Leo has that kind of dramatic flair to it. Interestingly, watching that debate of two candidates a month ago, and they both have Mars in Leo. They're both ruled by Mars in Leo, and their Marses are in conjunction. So perfect people to battle it out. Because if you have a strong Mars conjunction with somebody, it's a martial aspect. Anyway, but Mars and Leo, which both of those candidates have, by the way, and that's why they're in the public eye. Mars and Leo lends itself to drama and flair and really intense kind of things going on. So that's been in the wings for a couple of weeks, and then through the month of November, and that's why things may also be unsettled and dramatic. And then Mars moves back into Cancer, so it's going to be at the tail end. Mars, when it comes out of retrograde around the end of beginning of next year, Mars is going to be in Cancer. There's going to be a real rebuilding in terms of our emotional environment, our family relations, our legacy. So this is a very important integral time, and rather than giving all the rundown for all the different signs and how that might affect you, get your personal reading, because with that we can be very specific, and we can do predictive analysis and really work with the trends and work with your personality, work with who you are. And we can pacify you into the next phase of life, just like we do this cat. And you'll feel like this when you're done with the reading. You'll be like, I'm so satisfied, just like Zeus, huh? And anyway, so happy to do that. And what else do I need to tell you? I wish that I had an audience in the Q&A, because there's it's a very interesting time. Over the next few months, many shifts. Over the next few weeks, many shifts. Drama is unfolding, and we're not done with it. And basically, this is a significant time for turning the corner and doing something new. But first, you have to. It's like out with the bad air before in with the good. You have to release the lessons of the past in order to move into the future. So if you want to know what that means for you, why don't you contact me soon? Don't forget, Mercury's going to be retrograde at the end of the month, so contact me now, and we'll talk about it. And otherwise, wishing you all really well, and I hope you're as satisfied as my cat is right now. Isn't that right, Zeus?